So today we're going to talk about current frustrations, and then part 2 is going to be current desires. Part 3 is going to be current fears when considering a move out to the desert. I'm going to be answering all of your questions, so let's get started. Just arrived at one of my favorite spots. It's a little park by Silver Rock. A great little spot because it's very quiet. Not too many people come here. It's got a little entertainment venue over here. You've got a little pond. A lot of people come here, they walk their dogs. It's just like a great little spot to come to. And they just recently added in, I believe these are bocce ball. So this is really cool. Right now we're nearing towards mid-June, and so yeah, it's getting a little hot, getting warm, and in the shade it's not too bad, very manageable in the shade. One of the questions, and I'm looking at my phone because I've got the questions on my phone. The first question really on everyone's mind is heat. So this says, new residents often find the summer temperatures, which can exceed 110 degrees Fahrenheit, challenging to acclimate to. It is impossible to acclimate to 110 degree weather. What's going to happen when you move here full time is you will acclimate to warmer temperatures, and you will find, at least this is what I've noticed for myself, you will find that you are colder with colder temperatures. So personally, I am cold at anything really below like 75, especially if there's a breeze, making it colder. And so really, if it's anything below 75, I've got a light sweater on. At my house, I keep my temperature around 78 to 80. For me, that's comfortable. And you will find when you come out here that when you've moved from a place from where you keep your AC maybe 74, 72 degrees, you may find that you're keeping your AC up a little higher every year and you're colder at what used to be your normal temperature from where you came from. But like I said, you cannot acclimate to 120 degree weather. It's impossible. I haven't acclimated to that, and I live here full time. Hot tips on how to manage your life living here in the summer or just living here full time is to always find shade. You will be happier with your backyard either facing south, east, or north. A west-facing backyard could pose a little bit more challenging to enjoy in the summer. However, if you add shade like electric awnings, misters, your life and your quality of life will be 10 times better. It's just figuring out ways to mitigate the heat. I just love this little park. It is so pretty here. What a great little destination to come walk your dogs, take the kids. So much grass, which you would think for a desert, you wouldn't think to see this much grass, but we have grass here. Another frustration is limited public transportation. The lack of robust public transportation options make commuting difficult for those without a car. I'm not sure where this comes from. I have personally ridden the Sunline bus throughout our desert. The Sunline also has a little mini bus that you can call to take you to doctor's appointments. I remember my grandma would call the Sunbus line all the time and they would pick her up, and I remember it being a nominal fee. But we do have plenty of public transportation. We have buses, we have school buses that drop off in residential neighborhoods. So I'm not quite sure where the lack of robust public transportation is coming from. We also have Uber and places like La Quinta Cove, for instance, or even South Palm Desert are very bikeable. And you could also try using a golf cart to get around as well, which a lot of people do, especially in Sun City, Palm Desert, we see a lot of the seniors take their golf cart outside of the gates and run to Stater Brothers. There's banking, there's restaurants, all right there. And so public transportation out here in the desert is a non-issue. All right, high utility bills. Yes, it's hot here and you are running your AC 24/7 during the summer. I'll give you some examples and also ways to help your utility bills. So I knew of a client who was not wealthy by any means, lived in a 55 and older community, and their home was about 1,800 square feet. Now, 1,800 square feet is a relatively big home for one AC unit to cool down. However, it is possible you really only see 2 condensers or 2 AC units on homes that are like 2,200 square feet and up. My client was receiving, look at this. That's kind of not a good thing. I just walked up to this fountain and it's just running. Not sure, when it comes to water conservation, I just turned it off. We always got to be water conscious, right? So someone had, hit the button and it wasn't turning off. All right, back to our regularly scheduled broadcast here. Our bills during the summer for an 1,800 square foot home was about $800 a month. Yes, that is a lot of money, especially for people who are on a fixed income. Please know that our local electric companies, Imperial Irrigation District and Southern California Edison, have payment help and assistance for those in need. You have to apply for it. There has to be income limits and things like that, but it is possible. Is it a lot of money for people? Absolutely, 100% is. Will you have higher electric bills in the summer? Absolutely, you will. It is inevitable and unavoidable. The best ways to help that is to get solar. Now, if you are on Southern California Edison and you want solar on your home, it will help you save money. Southern California Edison, for those who don't know, is pretty expensive and it's higher electric rates than IID, Imperial Irrigation District. Whew, it is getting warm. Talking about the heat. If you so choose to get solar on IID, because IID already has relatively low rates, how this will work is it will give you the ability to know exactly what your payment is per month. And you're not gonna have these crazy electric bills only during the summer when you have solar on IID. To sum it up, solar on Edison will save you money. Solar with IID will help you have a steady bill all throughout the year. If you want more information on solar, let me know if you're curious about that and how that works and also cost. Next up is isolation. Some people feel isolated due to the sparse population density and vast distances between communities. I don't really know where that's coming from. Now, granted, if you want to drive from La Quinta to Palm Springs, about a 40-50 minute drive, depending on traffic. It goes by quickly. I remember I used to live in La Quinta and drive to Palm Springs every single day for my job. It was a 40-minute drive in the morning, 40-minute back, and it was not that big of a deal. Maybe back in the day when there weren't many houses being built and it was just dirt, there wasn't a lot to do and there may be that feeling of isolation, but I can tell you now, 0 people feel isolated out here. It's guaranteed that you will not feel isolated out here. It's a very active community. There are clubs, memberships that you can join to meet people. You can do what's called meetup.com, which I've personally done, where you can meet groups that are like-minded to you to help you meet people. And also if you join a community that is a golf community or just an HOA in general and has a clubhouse, you will have the ability to join any social clubs there. 100%, I can guarantee you, you're not gonna feel isolated out here. It's just interesting that came up. I get it, maybe because it's a desert and it just feels so boring, like we don't have much going on out here. That used to be the case, but it's not the case anymore. I was just at Costco the other day, granted it is June, and there were these guys that were clearly here on vacation and they were filling up their cart with booze. So that just goes to show that people are still coming here during the summer. I've got multiple clients coming here to tour properties in June, August, and September. More and more people are coming here. It's becoming less and less of like a seasonal area, although it will always be seasonal. But again, no isolation out here. All right, so the next one, water restrictions. Ongoing water conservation measures and restrictions can be frustrating for those used to more liberal water use. Now, if you're coming from a completely different state, like Oregon, Washington, back east, you have a lot more water than we do. You get a lot more rain than we do. So it would make sense that there would be more conservation concerns out here in California. There is across the state. However, our Coachella Valley, as I've mentioned in a previous video on water about the Palm Desert area, we are sitting on a massive aquifer, and so we don't have the water concerns like the rest of the state has. We're very fortunate out here, we're very lucky, and I think one of the stats is our current aquifer with its current status and containment, so to speak, feed up to 80 million families, and we only have less than 500,000 people who live here annually. 80 million people is a lot of people. Even knowing that stat, we should always be water conscious. Like I just turned off the water faucet over there. You see running water, you see a broken line somewhere, call the city, call the Coachella Valley Water District. It's easy to do, and they'll come out here and they will help you. There are also programs via the Coachella Valley Water District where you can change over to Desertscape, and there's incentives out there, plenty of incentives to help with that. We also have a ton of golf courses out here, so it's crazy to think that we have so much grass, so many golf courses, and we are in no dire area as far as water is concerned. Like we are good, we are okay. Lack of diverse entertainment, which is an interesting one. I think this has changed over the years. Growing up here as a kid, I always felt very bored. There was really nothing to do, but that has since changed dramatically. During the summer, they have Splash House, which is where DJs from all over the world come and do sets at hotels. Those are really big out here. We have the Coachella Music and Arts Festival. We have Stagecoach. We have the BNP Paribas. We have a dog show that comes out once a year. Also, one of my favorite places to go to would be Fantasy Springs Casino in Indio. Awesome place. They have everything under one roof. Rock Yard, which is an outdoor rock yard where they have amazing cover bands. They've got a club with a cover band on the inside. They've got a bowling alley. It's a casino. They've got a nice restaurant. That is a place where you can go and you can spend your entire evening and be entertained for hours. They also have so many other casinos out there that offer the same thing. And so the lack of diverse entertainment is, again, it's a non-issue. And we have movies in the park in Palm Desert. We've got La Quinta holds concerts. They hold concerts over here right behind me. There's also Food Truck Fridays in Indio. We also have tons of farmers market where you can get, there's sometimes like street entertainment, and you can get your groceries and your goods and your produce. And then also the Village Fest in Palm Springs every Thursday where people come out and sell their goods. I just kind of don't know where that came from. I feel like that's definitely a past tense thing, because as the area has gotten more and more popular, they've just created more things to do. So again, we have plenty of entertainment options out here. Every weekend there is something going on, even in the summer. And if you don't want to like be outside, because Rock Yard is outside, Idlewild, super close by. They have outdoor concerts, they have entertainment. Again, they're only an hour away. All right, inconsistent internet service. So I have Spectrum at my house. We also have Frontier, and I believe T-Mobile is slowly making its way out here as well. There are times where I do lose internet, but it lasts, I think the most that I've ever seen it last would be maybe an hour, couple hours. But there are times where I've fully lost phone service as well, and internet. At one time that happened has maybe in the past 5 years 2 times where you lose internet service and phone service, and that's like little pockets in the desert. But as far as internet service, I experience internet loss maybe a couple times a year, Is there a perfect internet service out there? No, there's not. There is no such thing as a perfect world or a perfect place to live unless you go and live in Hawaii, where the cost of living is astronomical, right? To sum that up, inconsistent, no. At times, could you lose internet? Yes, I think that that could happen anywhere. Over the past month, I have never lost internet. The past year, I could maybe say once or twice. And again, I just don't think the perfect internet is out there, and it's not inconsistent. Spectrum is everywhere, so is Frontier, and now T-Mobile is a cheaper option. I actually plan on moving from Spectrum to T-Mobile. I spend about $90 a month for just home internet Wi-Fi. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what speed that is, but I've never ever had issues with speed. Healthcare access. This one's like, I don't see it either. We've got 3 major hospitals out here. We've got Desert Regional, Palm Springs, we've got Eisenhower and Rancho Mirage, and we have JFK. I have been to all 3. I was born at Desert Regional, don't really remember that experience, but when I've visited family and friends in that hospital, it's always a great hospital to go to. Eisenhower's personally one of my favorites. That's where all of my doctors are. I love Eisenhower because Eisenhower doctors are everywhere throughout the valley, and their systems communicate across, so you don't have to go from one doctor to the next and tell them and repeat things because they don't have access to your file. So it's one reason why I love Eisenhower. I've personally been to the emergency room at both JFK and Eisenhower. I actually waited less time at JFK. It's because I fell on a bike and I was bleeding, so they had to see me relatively quick. And then the other time I went to Eisenhower, if you need to get somewhere quick, I wouldn't suggest Eisenhower for emergency services unless you're in that area. And again, it's based on condition. If you're coming into the emergency room bleeding, they're gonna take you right away, right? I spent, I believe, about 5 or 6 hours at the Eisenhower emergency room. The JFK emergency room, I spent maybe 3 hours in and out. And I would think that's probably standard for an emergency room. I haven't been to the one in Palm Springs, but again, it's probably about the same, about 3, maybe 4 hours for emergency services. I think that's probably about average, maybe across the country, depending on population. So according to health.usnews.com, the best hospitals in California, #1 ranked in California overall is Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. That's in Los Angeles. That's a 2-hour drive away from us, super easy to get to. Stanford Health, UCLA Medical, San Diego Health. Again, these are all within 2 hours of us. UCSF, that's San Francisco, it's a bit further. Tech Medical, that's Los Angeles, UC Davis, Sacramento, a bit further, La Jolla hospitals. Eisenhower Medical is in Rancho Mirage. It's like our central location hospital-wise, and it's ranked number 12 in California, over 425 hospitals. So we have plenty of healthcare options out here. Eisenhower is by far one of the best. Personal experiences, I love Eisenhower doctors. I love the hospital. I've always experienced good care. So next up, we're gonna talk about schools. I know schooling is very important for those that have children. According to niche.com, Palm Valley School, which is a private school, is one of the best, and that's in Rancho Mirage. If you wanna pay the extra money for a private school, it's saying it's #1. It's got an A+ rating. #2 also has A+, Xavier College Preparatory High School. That's in Palm Desert as well. That's getting an A+ rating on niche.com. Palm Desert High School, which is saying the #1 high school in the Palm Springs area. I beg to differ. I went to Palm Springs and I loved it. But Palm Desert High School is ranking #1 for high schools and also an A rating overall on niche. #1 best elementary school is James Monroe Elementary School. That has an A rating on niche.com. That's located in Bermuda Dunes. And if you want to read these stats, I highly suggest niche.com. They go over all of them. They go over ratings. People have left reviews and comments. We've got plenty of private schools, public schools. So whichever you're willing to do or wanting to do for your children, we have tons of options out here. All right, next up, bugs and pests. This is kind of an interesting one. So we don't really have too many crazy creatures. I've seen some crazy creatures. We have black widows out here. Those aren't fun. You get bit by one of those, you're not a happy camper. We also have what's called a vinegaroon. They kind of look like scorpions without a tail. We have scorpions. We do have rattlesnakes out here. It's a very big thing. You've got to be really careful if you're walking on trails. I think rattlesnake season starts by like April. It's pretty much through summer. So again, it's just one of those things where you just have to be careful where you're walking. If you're hiking out there, I try to do my best to not take my dogs into the desert when things start to warm up, knowing that it's rattlesnake season. They actually have rattlesnake aversion training in Joshua Tree, I believe, where if you live in maybe a mountainous area or if you have a lot of land and you're concerned about rattlesnakes, you can take your dog to this training and it will help to keep your dog away from things that they're not supposed to put their nose to, right? So I've heard terrible stories of dogs getting bit in the face by rattlesnakes, and they do not stand a chance, unfortunately, unless you live very close to an animal vet that can give an anti-venom. But for the most part, those dogs don't make it. So you just have to be really, really careful if you're walking around with dogs. I've actually thought about taking my dogs to the aversion training just because I think it would be a really great thing to consider. But I don't really live in an area that has, concerns for that. I don't have a whole lot of land either, or a big backyard, so it's just not something that I'm concerned about. Now, if you're living maybe really close to the desert, you're probably gonna experience, not snakes, but you will experience more bugs. I don't see too many spiders out here, but what we do see are cockroaches. Cockroaches are not fun, especially if they fly. I do see termites out here as well. For the most part, you're gonna see things like ants, termites, cockroaches, mostly during the summertime. And we have pest service. They're gonna come and spray your house either once a week, bi-weekly, or a couple times a month. I believe I do pest service about $75 a month, and they come once every other week, so a couple times a month. Well worth it, especially during the summer, because cockroaches, they're big and they are not fun to deal with, and they're thin and they get in cracks and crevices. They get into your house very easily. I've lived in other areas where they have tarantulas and big snakes and big spiders, and I don't think that I would ever live in those places again. We just don't have, I'm like looking behind me, watch a spider crawling up the pole, knowing my luck. But again, I don't see anything too crazy out here. Never really have, other than just ugly things like vinegaroons. I haven't seen one in a while. Long time. We have seen, centipedes is another one that we've seen as well. But again, I can't even tell you the last time I saw one. Sometimes lizards, but lizards are harmless. They help control the insects. But if you just have to be careful with keeping sugar out and water. You want to make sure that you're constantly cleaning up, because ants love water, especially during the summer, and they're always gonna be like on the hunt for food as well. But pest service, not a care, not a worry when you have pest control service, promise you. So next one is housing market fluctuations. Now, no one can tell the future. I don't know what's gonna happen in the future, but I can tell you now that this year, 2024, is my busiest year yet. People are moving out here because people are seeing prices in San Diego, Orange County, LA, and they're seeing that they just can't buy even a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo for less than $1 million. It's insane. Where out here, you could easily find a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo for like $350,000 in a nice gated golf community where you're gonna feel safe and you're gonna love the area as well. Now, the reason our prices are going to continue to be awesome is because of the weather. The weather keeps our prices down because it's not as desirable as LA, Orange County, San Diego, because those are technically beach cities. They're closer to the beach. And so their prices are gonna always be higher than ours. And so most people call me and they're like, well, I can get more for my money in the Palm Springs, Palm Desert, La Quinta area. I could buy an estate for what I can buy in LA for like $1 million. So we have seen corrections in our market, but so far, year-over-year prices are still increasing, but not like crazy, not like they have before. Every city is seeing their fluctuations. Our most recent housing report showed that we've kind of plateaued on our prices, which is historically normal for us in the summertime because our prices generally soften during the summer. There's less people out there buying, so houses sit on the market longer and you're gonna see price reductions. So it's historically normal for us to see more of a softening during the summertime. As we head into season, we'll see more listings pop up, more people looking on the market. So previously, summer used to be like the best time to buy a house, and I think it still is because there's less people looking, but I'm having more and more people actually come out here during the summer to shop than I have before. Just know that when you're out shopping in the summer, it's gonna be hot. Make sure you have water. Know that during the summer, you're not going to be out getting in and out of your car, shopping for houses. You're gonna be comfortably in your AC house, not worrying about what's going on outside. So that was my frustrations video. I think I hit a lot. I hope that it was helpful. Next up is going to be desires, where we talk about community involvement, outdoor activities, living, safety, modern amenities, things like that. And then the last one, part 3, is gonna be current fears. And lastly, if you or someone you know is looking to move to the Palm Springs, Palm Desert, La Quinta, and beyond here in Southern California, I'd love to chat with you, answer any of your questions. So that is my video, and yeah, so on to part 2 now. See you guys on the next one. Bye.